39%. Remember that number, because by the end of this video, it's going to change how you think about everything you've read about the Florida housing market. In June, 39% of every single-family home that closed in Sarasota County was bought with cash. No mortgage, no interest rate problem, cash. Now ask yourself, does that sound like a market that's crashing? Welcome back. I'm Darren Dowling, owner of Beyond Realty, based right here in Sarasota. Every month, I sit down with the official MLS data from Florida Realtors, the same SunStats database every brokerage in the state pulls from. And I walk through it line by line. Not the national headlines, not what a cable news anchor in New York thinks about Florida, the actual closed sales, the actual prices, the actual days on market for this county. Here's what we're covering today. First, why the national coverage keeps getting Sarasota wrong, and I'll be fair about which parts of it are actually true. Second, the 4 headline numbers for June: median price, active listings, months of inventory, and days on market. Third, the rest of the data sheet, the 7 or 8 numbers most agents never mention, which is usually where the real story lives. Then 2 full segments, exactly what this data means if you're buying and exactly what it means if you're selling. And I'll finish with the questions I got most this month and where I think this market is heading into fall. One quick thing before we start. Everything I reference today is in a free neighborhood level snapshot I build every month. More on that later. For now, grab your coffee and let's get into the data. If you typed Florida housing market into Google this morning, here's what you got. Crash, glut, exodus, bubble. I'm not going to pretend that coverage is invented from nothing. Parts of it are real, and I want to be straight with you about which parts, because that honestly is exactly why the single family story is so surprising. 2 true things. First, the condo market in Florida genuinely is struggling. Insurance costs, milestone inspections, special assessments, that segment has a real problem. And when journalists average condos into the overall Florida market, the whole number looks sick. We're not covering condos today. This entire video is single family homes, and it's a different world. Second, if you compare today's market to 2021 and 2022, everything looks slow. But comparing anything to 2021 is like comparing your resting heart rate to a sprint. That era was an anomaly, not a baseline. So what happens when you strip those 2 distortions out and just look at Sarasota County single family homes for June 2026 against June 2025? Sales are up, prices are up, inventory's down, and homes are selling faster. Every single one of those 4 trends points to the opposite direction of the headline you read this morning. That's the whole reason this monthly video exists. Real estate is not a national market. It's not even really a state market. It's thousands of hyper-local markets, and the spread between them right now is the widest I've seen in my career. Decisions made on national averages in a market like this are wrong decisions. So let's look at what's actually true here. Number 1, median sales price. The median single-family home in Sarasota County sold for $492,450 in June. A year ago, that number was $455. That's an 8.2% gain in 12 months. And I want to add a detail that makes this more impressive. In May, the median was $475. So we didn't just grow year over year. We stepped up $17,500 in a single month. For anyone who spent the last year waiting for prices to drop before buying, that wait had a price tag, and it was about $37,000 on the median home. Number 2, active inventory. There were 2,870 single-family homes on the market in Sarasota County at the end of June. Last June, just under 4,000. That's a 27% drop in available homes. Now think about what this means mechanically. Every buyer in this market is choosing from a menu that got shorter by more than a quarter, while sales, and we'll get to this, actually rose 15%. Fewer homes, more buyers closing. That's a tightening market by definition. Number 3, month supply of inventory. If you only learn one real estate statistic, Make it this one. Month supply asks, if no new homes were listed starting today, how long would it take to sell everything currently on the market at the current sales price? Under 4 months, sellers hold the leverage. 4 to 6 months is balanced. Over 6, buyers hold the leverage. Sarasota in June is 4.1 months. A year ago, it was 6.3. Read that trajectory. We came from the edge of a real buyer's market, and we are now sitting on the doorstep of seller territory. The direction matters more than the number. Number 4, days on market. Specifically, median time to contract. The typical June sale went under contract in 47 days. Last June, 60 days. That's nearly 2 weeks of negotiating time that has evaporated. When homes sit for 2 months, buyers can grind on price. When well-priced homes move in 6.5 weeks, hesitation costs you a house. So there's your big 4. Prices up 8.2%, inventory down 27%, supply at 4.1 months and falling, and homes moving 2 weeks faster. Hold those 4 in your head while we look at what's beneath them, because the supporting numbers are honestly even more interesting. Closed sales. 805 single-family homes closed in June. Last June, that was 699. That's up 15.2%. Dollar volume, meaning the total value of everything that closed, $589.7 million, up almost 22% year over year. Sarasota County transacted over $500 million in single-family homes in 30 days. Markets in decline do not do that. Cash sales, my cold open number, 314 of the 805 closings were cash. 39%. The national share is roughly half that. Why does this matter so much? Because cash buyers don't care what the Federal Reserve does. Nearly 4 in 10 Sarasota buyers are completely insulated from mortgage rates. That puts a structural flaw under this market that rate-sensitive markets in other states simply don't have. Median percent of original list price, 94.4%, up from 92.2 a year ago. Translation, the typical seller is giving up about 5.5% from their original asking price, and that discount is shrinking. The era of aggressive lowballs are fading, but flip that stat around and it's also a warning for sellers. The market is still trimming overpriced listings. Pricing right at launch is everything, and we'll talk about strategy in a minute. New pending sales, my favorite forward-looking number. 686 homes went under contract in June, up 4.1% year over year. Pending inventory, all contracts waiting to close, sits at 919, up about 3%. Those contracts are July and August closings. The pipeline is full, which tells you the strength isn't a 1-month blip. New listings, 753 in June, actually down 6.5% from last year. This is quietly one of the most important lines on the sheet. Inventory isn't shrinking because of a buying frenzy. It's shrinking from both directions. Steady absorption and fewer sellers entering. If you're a seller, that second part is your competitive gift. And median time to sell. That's your contracts to keys. It's 89 days, down from 99. Start to finish, the typical transaction is a 3-month journey. Remember that when we talk about timing your move. If you're buying in Sarasota County, here's my honest read. You're not too late, but you are no longer early. First, you still have real negotiating power, and the data proves it. Homes are closing at 94.4% of original ask on the median. That means on a $600,000 listing, the typical outcome involves tens of thousands in movement from the original price. Target homes that have sat past their 47-day median, their sellers have already heard the market's verdict, and that's where your leverage lives. Second, stop waiting for the crash. I'm not saying this as a salesperson. I'm saying this as a data point. Facts and data don't care about your feelings or your opinions. The wait and see strategy cost buyers 8.2% this year, on top of what they've already paid in rent. If the payment works today and you plan to hold the home for 5 or more years, the June data says the downside you're insuring against by waiting keeps not arriving, while the price keeps stepping away from you. Third, get fully underwritten, not just pre-qualified. Remember, 4 in 10 of your competitors are paying cash. A financed offer competes with cash by being certain, full underwriting up front, clean terms, and realistic timelines. A pre-qual letter is a participation trophy in this market. No one cares. Fourth, at 4.1 months supply, correctly priced homes in the good school zones and west of trail neighborhoods are starting to see multiple interest again. Decide your walkaway number before you fall in love with the kitchen. And fifth, a word on price bands, because this county's median hides this. The market under $500,000 is the most competitive slice in the county right now. That's where the inventory shortage bites hardest and where you should expect company on any well-priced home. From 500 to about 900, you'll find the most balanced conditions and the most negotiable sellers. Above 1 million, the market runs on its own clock, cash heavy, slower, and much more about specific properties than the trend. Know which of these 3 markets you're actually shopping in, because the advice changes with the price point. Now, the seller's side, and this is the strongest position you've had in about 2 years, with one giant caveat. The good news stack. Your competition is down 27%, buyer demand is up 15%, homes are moving 2 weeks faster, and the discount of asking is shrinking. Every one of those trends works for you. The caveat, this market still executes overpriced listings, quietly and expensively. That 94.4% of original list number is the median. Underneath it are sellers who priced it right and got 98, 99, 100% of their asking price. And sellers who priced at their 2022 fantasy and ended up cutting twice, sitting 90 days on the market or more and closing well below where they had landed with honest pricing from day one. Buyers in this market are data literate. They can see the days on market and the price history on their phone. A stale listing reads as a flawed listing, even if the only flaw was the first number. So, 3 moves. 1. Price to the last 90 days of comps, not your neighborhood's Zillow estimate, and definitely not 2022. 2. Presentation is carrying unusual weight right now because a large slice of demand is relocation and second home buyers who want turnkey. Small pre-list investments, paint, lighting, staging the main rooms are converting at a very high rate. 3. Mind the calendar. Median time to contract is 47 days and time to close is another 6 weeks. Listing in August means closing around Thanksgiving. If your plan says sold by year end, your launch window is now. One more seller point that almost nobody talks about. Your first 10 days on market are worth more than the next 90. Showing activity and saved search traffic peak immediately after launch, and every serious buyer with an alert for your neighborhood or area sees you in week 1. If you price it right, that's when your best offer arrives. If the phone is quiet in those 10 days, that is the market grading your price, and the sellers who are just in week 2 consistently out-earn sellers who give it a couple more months. In a 47-day market, stubbornness has a monthly carrying cost, another mortgage payment, another insurance bill, and a listing that's aging in front of every buyer who can read the days on market counter. And this is the right moment for the one ask of this video. County numbers are the trend, but you don't own the county. You own a specific house in a specific neighborhood on a specific street. Every month I build a free neighborhood level Sarasota snapshot. What listed, what sold, what it sold for, and how long it took for your actual neighborhood. Siesta Key, Palmer Ranch, west of Trail, Lakewood Ranch, wherever you are. The links are in the description. Takes about 15 seconds. Name, email, neighborhood, no spam, no cold calls, just data every month. If you're within a year of making a move in either direction, this is your cheat sheet. 3 questions in my inbox this month. Darren, what about insurance? Doesn't that kill affordability? It's a real cost and it's part of every buyer conversation I have. But here's what the data says. 805 families closed in June anyway, up 15%. Insurance is a line item buyers are pricing in, not the reason the market stops. And on newer construction built to current code homes, the premiums often surprise people in a very good way. Is this just seasonal? That's a fair question. June's pretty okay, but it's definitely not typically as strong as Q1 and the majority of Q2. As we go into Q3, everything seems to slow down a little bit. And that's exactly why I'm comparing June to last June, not June to January. Every number I give you today is year over year. Same season against same season. The improvement is real. Should I wait for rates to drop? Here's the uncomfortable math. If rates drop meaningfully, buyers who are waiting on the sidelines flood back in. And with 4-month supply, prices respond to that. Waiting for cheaper money in a supply-constrained market usually means paying more principal at a lower rate. Marry the house, maybe date the rate. I'm not a big fan of that, but do the math on both scenarios with someone who will show you the actual numbers so you're comfortable with your decision. And one more, because I got it 4 times this month. How does Siesta Key or West of Trail Market compare to these county numbers? That's a great instinct, because the county median genuinely doesn't describe those markets. The coastal and near downtown neighborhoods run heavier on cash, longer on market time, and the comps swing block by block. That's exactly why the neighborhood snapshot exists. The county tells you the climate, your street tells you the weather. If your neighborhood is the question, that report is the answer, and it's free. Where does this go from here? Watch 3 numbers with me next month. Pending sales, because that's July's closings already in motion, and the pipeline is full. New listings, because if hesitation continues, supply keeps tightening into full. And month supply, because if we break below 4, we are formally back in a seller's market, and the negotiating dynamics shift again. My honest bottom line, Sarasota is not crashing and it's not overheating, it's rebalancing. With the leverage moving steadily from buyers back towards the middle, both sides can win here, but only with current data and a real strategy. If this was useful, subscribe. It means the world to me. It helps the channel out and gets this content in front of more people like yourself. I do this every month with new numbers. Grab your free neighborhood snapshot in the description below, and if you want to talk about your specific situation, my direct line is 941-204-0493. That conversation is free and it always will be. I'm Darren Dowling with Beyond Realty. We'll see you next month.
Scan the QR code to connect with Darren Dowling. Follow and subscribe for exclusive Florida listings and updates.